These are creepy TikToks that will make you rethink your whole reality.
When Apollo 11 landed, it only had 20 seconds of remaining fuel. 4 months ago, a deceased rapper by the name Gunyu had his corpse on stage while fans were partying around his body. The average person wastes 5 months of their lives waiting for red lights to turn green.
If you play video games for 7 days straight, you will die. Several people have died doing this when they are completing a gaming marathon. So whatever you do, never play video games for more than 7 days. Next up is time without pooping. If you go 2 weeks without pooping, you will die.
Disturbing moments caught at McDonald's. This woman, fed up with waiting for her food at a McDonald's, begins trashing the store and throwing things at the staff behind the counter. She starts by simply looking fed up before the clip cuts, and she comes in from off camera. She throws a bucket, containers, wet floor signs, and more.
Okay, what's up, y'all? So I just heard some really trippy news about this whole Ukraine-Russia war. So a Russian parliamentary committee claims that Ukraine is using labs provided by the United States of America to create superhuman soldiers, like some mutants.
I'm back, it's your boy Fittie, and today we're looking at this compilation together. I'm so excited to show you guys this because I'm in it. So just grab your water, your popcorn, whatever you want. If you like the chain, check the link down below. We're offering free shipping. You know, you can get it for a Christmas gift for your family, your friends, whatever you want.
Shadow people explained. Shadow people are 2D entities with no real features. They're just kind of pitch black. Most people say shadow people get into your home via a portal, which most often is a mirror. The theory goes that shadow people used to be human beings, but there were also some that weren't humans, meaning their personalities and what they may do can vary. But they're all pretty much very intelligent. Although if they are spotted by humans, they most often will flee. Another explanation for what these things are sleep paralysis hallucinations, which makes this less of a supernatural thing and more of a scientific thing. But also some people think they're aliens, so who knows.
Shadow people are kind of weird to explain because it's one of those things where it's like, it might be a hallucination, might be another entity, we'll never really know. When I looked into it, pretty much said that it's just like a perception, so.
A man in a graveyard caught something horrifying on camera. In this video, a man takes a camera with him into a cemetery at night because he heard the sound of a young girl crying from the graveyard near his house. As he enters the cemetery, he is visibly scared, and keeps telling himself that he is an idiot for putting himself in this situation.
No seas idiota. ¿Qué es esto, güey? No está nada lógico la niña llorando en un cementerio a las 12 de la noche.
He spots the girl and points the camera at her.
Amiga. Niña. Ay, no seas imbécil. ¡Ella, güey! ¡Ella, güey! Por favor!
What the hell's that man doing in the graveyard at that time of night? He said don't be an idiot, but is doing something idiotic.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 26. Atoms are 99% nothing, which makes us 99% nothing as well. Also, if you come in contact with someone or something, you're not actually touching them. You're simply sensing the repulsion between your atoms and theirs. You can get bed bugs from movie theater seats. In 1386, a French pig was publicly executed for the murder of a child. The pig was given full legal representation and provided human clothes for the trial. A 7-year-old South African girl is more likely to be raped than to receive an education. In the 1950s, many babies in orphanages didn't cry very often because they knew their cries wouldn't be answered. Hans Langseth, the man with the longest beard in history, died when he tripped over it and cracked his neck. The maximum prison sentence in Brazil is 30 years, meaning that mass murderers like Pedro Rodrigues Filho, who killed over 100 people, are walking free today.
I'm really trying to figure out though, is if the maximum sentence is 30 years, can you just get like multiple life sentences though? Like, it doesn't only have to be 30.
Disturbing moments caught at McDonald's. This woman, fed up with waiting for her food at a McDonald's, begins trashing the store and throwing things at the staff behind the counter. She starts by simply looking fed up before the clip cuts, and she comes in from off camera. She throws a bucket, containers, wet floor signs, and more. All we can see are other guests trying to get away from her and the employees trying to scramble out of the line of fire.
That's how you know these people are addicted to that, man. Like, come on, you couldn't just wait.
These twins barely spoke to anyone but each other. As children, their parents quickly noticed that Jennifer and June Gibbons weren't like the other kids. They were unusually inseparable and even created their own language. By their teens, they were even mirroring each other's actions. They would move and walk exactly alike. But even after seeing specialists, no one could figure out what was going on with the girls. One speech therapist noticed that it seemed like June wanted to talk but was controlled by her sister. Their diaries revealed that June felt the same. She called her sister a dark shadow, and Jennifer felt that they were fatal enemies. They tried separating the girls, but they rapidly declined into a trance-like state. When they reunited, they withdrew even more and stopped talking to their family almost completely. By the time they were 18, they were rebelling and arrested for arson. They were committed to a maximum security prison where they lived for 12 years. In March 1993, the twins were being transferred to a low security, but when they arrived, Jennifer was unresponsive and pronounced dead at age 29. It seemed like she just fell asleep and never woke up. After this, Jennifer began speaking and interacting with the world as if she had her whole life.
I know with twins, there's like a bond with them that no one can really explain. I'm not sure what it is because I'm not a twin. If you're a twin, let me know down in the comments.
Scary stories in 60 seconds or less. This single mom was gonna have the night to herself when her older kids went out, so she was totally happy to just curl up on the couch and watch some TV. As the night got later and later, she finally turns the TV off to head upstairs to bed. She was just about to hit the lights when suddenly she noticed something in the kitchen. She swore she saw something run by the kitchen window, but she tried to calm herself down and maybe just convince herself that it was just her reflection she saw. She felt a bit uneasy, but decided to head over to the window to look, but she only got halfway when she heard something. The soft tapping of a finger on the window and a muffled voice from outside saying, "Hi." She stood there completely frozen as her eyes adjusted and she could suddenly make out the outline of a pale-faced man who had been watching her from outside the window. She screamed and ran for the bathroom where she called 911 and they came, but they never found that man, nor did they know what he was planning to do to her.
Man, if that was me, someone's getting shot, punched, or beat up because I don't know that dude's intentions. For all I know, he could have been trying to do me harm.
After a walk with her dog, a woman notices that a man has followed her into her yard. Her doorbell camera recorded the entire incident. In the video, the woman picks up her dog and rushes inside her house after she sees the man behind her. Luckily, she locked her door because the man walks up to the house and tries to get in. He tries to talk to her as he wiggles the doorknob. The woman called the police, but they didn't get to her house until 15 minutes later. The man was not even arrested, as police said trespassing is only a citation and he just needs to be seen in court.
Man, what? That's what I'm talking about. People just walk up to your door trying to open it after you. Like, what was bro's intention? That's what I'm saying, man. If that was me, you getting hurt or...
This is a true horrifying story of what causes jinns to possess humans. For those who don't know what jinns are, they are the paranormal. They are demons. Some refer to them as evil spirits. Other religions refer these incidents as demonic possessions. Regardless of what religion you follow, a demonic possession is a thing that is mentioned in your books. This episode is not specifically a story, but I will explain the details on how possessions happen. Now remember, there are 3 causes and 4 conditions behind the jinn possession. These are the 3 causes. 1. Oppression, the rarest cause. A jinn will possess you for the simplest reason. He just doesn't like you. Number 2. Love, the ashiq jinn. A jinn can fall in love with a human and start possessing that person. There are reasons behind this. Maybe you spend a lot of time in your house undressed, thinking no one can see you. The jinn is actually staring at you, and some will even be attracted to you. Number 3. Unintentional harm. When you accidentally harm a jinn, an example, you poured boiling water somewhere outside and it accidentally harmed the jinn, they will seek vengeance. Now these are the 3 causes. What about the conditions? Can jinns possess you at any time, anywhere? No. There are 4 conditions you must meet before a jinn can possess you. Condition 1. Extreme anger. When you're in a state of extreme anger, you are widening the gate for a demonic possession. Condition 2. Excessive fear. Same thing. When you're in a state of extreme fear of your surroundings. Condition 3. A state of excessive heedlessness. Not physically, spiritually. And condition 4. Pleasure. It is the state of when you are alone enjoying your desires. You know, when you do what you do while watching inappropriate content. These are the 4 conditions that you need to be in for a jinn to possess you. But these conditions aren't always the case for a demonic possession. They are the states for the jinns to possess you, and they only open a wider gate for demons to use you. Demonic possessions are real, and they are lethal, and they are not easy to treat. Jinns are predators that we cannot see.
After that video, I'm never going to be in a state of pleasure, heedlessness, anger, or fear. I'm literally just going to be the most stoic and unbothered person of all time.
If you do this much, you will die. Part 2. First is gaming. If you play video games for 7 days straight, you will die. Several people have died doing this when they are completing a gaming marathon. So whatever you do, never play video games for more than 7 days. Next up is time without pooping. If you go 2 weeks without pooping, you will die. It also completely depends on your diet, but the average time to die from not pooping is 2 weeks. Finally is self-pleasuring yourself. You would die after going 42 times. A Brazilian teenager died from shock after going 42 times without stopping. I don't know who in their right mind would do this anyway, but if you're one of these people, never go over 42 times.
Yo, he said 42 times without stopping. 42 times is crazy though. I don't know what bro was going through, but...
Can you do the harbinger experiment? Warning, this story gets a tad bit disturbing, so if you're sensitive to stuff like that, now is the time to exit. The harbinger experiment is a creepypasta story about tests done on 3 subjects to prove that supernatural phenomena exists. As you probably already guessed, these tests go extremely wrong. The experiment was conducted by a scientist called Zimmerman. He had 3 other scientists helping him with this project, one of which is the narrator of this story. In an underground chamber, as you can see, this is the entrance depicted here, Zimmerman had lured 3 test subjects into the testing building where they were each placed in their own separate confinement chambers. They were lured there under the belief that they would be engaging in a harmless isolation experiment. After the test subjects arrived, they were injected with a substance that Zimmerman had created. Little did they know that this substance would turn them from humans into monsters. Part 2 is in the comments. This is part 2 of the harbinger experiment. The point of this experiment was for Zimmerman to summon beings, creatures if you will, from another realm to enter the bodies of the 3 test subjects. On the first day of the experiment, after the 3 test subjects were all put in their separate confinement chambers, Zimmerman held a meeting where he got on a loudspeaker and began chanting. Nobody knew what he was saying. It seemed as though only he knew what he was saying, and whatever he was doing seemed like a ritual of sorts. About 5 minutes after the chanting began, the ground started shaking violently, like an earthquake. And then everything stopped, including the security cameras. You see, they had set up security cameras in each of the confinement chambers so that they could monitor the test subjects. And all of the cameras went to static. Shortly after this, the test subjects began screaming for their lives. The screaming didn't stop for hours. It was time for the team to leave, and they were ordered to return back at 10 a.m. What they saw when they returned back horrified them.
This is why when it comes to like doing tests for the government or anything, I'm not doing all that. I'm being real. I'm not doing all that. Like, you do a test, next thing you know, you come back 10 years, your whole liver is falling down. You got possessed by 10,000 demons. Like,
the harbinger experiment, last part. Now's the time to make sure that all of your lights are off, because it's gonna get real spooky. When everybody returned at 10 o'clock the next morning, the security cameras were still all static, except for number 2. The security camera in test subject number 2's chamber showed her lifeless body. After waiting for a while, number 3's monitor turned back on, showing that test subject number 3 had turned into a humanoid. His arms now stretched down as far as his knees. There was nothing human about him anymore. He was now a monster. The security team decided to go into his chamber, and that's when he got violent. He attempted to ambush them, which resulted in the security team unaliving him, which meant that test subject number 1 was the only one left. Suddenly, in the underground chambers, music started playing. The music was coming from test subject number 1, who erupted out of his chamber, quickly unaliving everybody in his path. He was easily 10 feet tall, maybe even 15 feet. People tried to run, but in the end, they couldn't.
Serial killer would release his victims in the woods. Also known as the Butcher Baker, Robert Christian Anson is one of America's prolific serial killers. Between 1971 and 1983, Hansen had abducted, raped, and murdered 17 women in Anchorage, Alaska. His sickening killing technique is that he'd let these kidnapped women let loose in the wild, only to hunt them down with his rifle. He'd eventually kill them using his knife. His sentence, 461 years imprisonment.
If you ask me, that was a well-deserved sentence, man. He should have honestly got the death penalty. Like, that's just sick.
If you do this much, you will die, part 1. Up first is sex. If you have sex for more than 15 hours, you will die. Sex can be very dangerous, especially in older men, and it can cause heart problems. Next up is time without sleeping. If you go 11 days without sleeping, you will die. And if that's not bad enough, staying up this late can make you lose your memory, cause paranoia and hallucinations. Next up are burgers. If you eat 27 burgers, you will die. Your death will either be caused by cardiac failure, dehydration, or seizures. So if you're a burger lover, do yourself a favor and never eat 27.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I would never eat that much burgers.
Interesting facts about Adolf Hitler. In 1923, Hitler attempted a coup known as the Beer Hall Putsch in Munich, aiming to overthrow the Bavarian government. The coup failed, and Hitler was arrested and sentenced to prison. Despite his public image of strength and authority, Hitler struggled with personal insecurities. He was known to be sensitive about his short stature and took measures to project an image of power and dominance. Hitler reportedly had a dislike of cats. It is said that he believed they were conspiring against him. Hitler followed a vegetarian diet for much of his life, believing it was healthier and aligned with his vision of Aryan purity. He also had a fear of dentists and often avoided dental treatments, which contributed to his deteriorating oral health.
That makes more sense. You could tell that the way how he presented himself was through insecurities, but that's how it is sometimes. But I'm not gonna lie, the fair dentist one is a little bit insane. Like, your teeth are important to your everyday health, so.
These two friends right here took 20 hits of LSD and only one made it out alive. This right here is Sheldon Stewart and that is Trevor Homensky. This story gets kind of twisty, so stay with me towards the end. This is Trevor. He fulfilled his longtime dreams of joining the US Marines. And as a final goodbye, he decided to go camping one last time with his best friend Sheldon. As him and Trevor decided to take a 2.5-hour journey to Bucks Lake, California, they decided to both take 20 hits of LSD. The next morning as they got to the campsite, firefighters got a report of a raging brush fire in that area. They found Sheldon's body with over 10 stab wounds to his neck. So this asks the question, where is Trevor and what happened the night of the camping trip? So luckily, Sheldon was actually alive and they started to question him. Sheldon told them him and Trevor both took 20 hits of acid and woke a little bit of schmeat on top of that, and they both started tripping heavy. As they were tripping, Sheldon said that Trevor wanted to have some naughty time with him, in which Sheldon completely denied. This got Trevor mad. He then stood on top of his best friend, stabbing him 10 times in the neck. Imagine. You know, this is gonna be too long, so stay tuned for part 2.
Yeah, that was me. I made that video. We're lit. Part 2 right now, though. I'm playing part 2 right now. Stop. I know.
This is part 2 of the kids who took 20 hits of acid and only one made it out alive. After Sheldon got stabbed 10 times in the neck, he claimed he saw Trevor run off into the woods. The day the firefighters found Sheldon, they also found a burnt body in a ditch. While the police were investigating Sheldon, the autopsy report came back for the burnt body. And turns out the burnt body was Trevor. The autopsy claimed Trevor had one stab wound to his back and one also in his chest. So now the investigators are very suspicious of Sheldon, with him going from the victim to the main suspect. They claim all of Sheldon's slash and stab wounds were self-inflicted. Now the investigators completely do not believe Sheldon. They believe Sheldon stabbed Trevor, then stabbed himself, and then threw his body in a ditch and burnt it. He then claimed he only stabbed his best friend to put him out of his mercy. If you like content like this, please follow.
Bro, you can't tell me I'm not a better storyteller than all the other storytellers we've watched during this whole series. Like, you can't tell me I'm not better. Like, that was interesting. I don't think y'all know how weird it is just watching yourself, bro. I used to be funny making them videos. I used to be really just chilling. Just like, oh, this is a weird story and I just made that. Fittie. That was like 2 years ago. Me.
Jeff Bezos has $121 billion. Okay. The population of the earth is 7 billion people. He could give every person $1 billion and end poverty, and he would still have $114 billion left over, but he won't do it. He can't give everyone $1 billion. But he has more money than everyone. He can give everyone $1. Are you confused? No, I swear that's simple math though. Even the tweet, that's the tweet.
Stop it. Get some help.
$1, fam. What are you talking about? There's 1 billion people, you give $1 billion away. It's $1 to each billion. Yeah, which equates to 1 billion, right? Yeah. Okay, so, so he can give everyone $13. Because after 93, 7 billion, 93. No. Okay, yo. So every person can get $13. No, they can get $1 billion, but it's okay. $1 billion? That's wrong. Man, listen, this guy's in university, fam. No. Give me his degree. No, give me his degree. God, I'm not tripping. Leave it down in the comment section. This is going for too long. Yeah, it is. This is going for too long. Leave it down in the comment section. Give me his degree.
Man, I wish Jeff Bezos could give me $1 billion for no reason. I would literally just be chilling. Like, I would do nothing for the rest of my life. I would low-key just be a bum. I'm being real. The gym, hell no, I won't even hit that no more. I'd be like, I'm too rich for the gym. That was a joke.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 35. This creature is known as a woolly monkey, and due to poachers and people trading and selling them illegally, there's only 1,000 of these little guys left in the world. The uncanny valley is a phenomenon in which people become fearful at things that are very close to human, but something isn't quite right. Throughout history, mummies actually weren't that rare, that is, until the Victorian British ate so many of them. During the Arctic exploration, one of the scientists was complaining that his shoes were soaking wet. Later, when he took them off, he found this was because his feet were decaying and liquidized with his blood. A man once donated his recently deceased mother's body for scientific research. Later, he discovered that the research facility sold it to the US Army for $5,000, strapped it to a chair, and blew it up with explosives.
I'm trying to figure out, how did they find that out? How did he know that? That's really disrespectful though, but still, how did he know that?
The terrifying legend of La Cegua. Native to Mexico and Central America, legend has it that if you see a woman on a lonely road at night, donned in a white or black vintage gown, or sometimes nothing at all, stopping to help her could be very dangerous, as it could turn out to be La Cegua. She appears on lonely roads at night, luring unfaithful men to their demise. At first, she may appear as a beautiful woman with luscious red lips and long black hair. She'll appear stranded at the side of a desolate road. She may ask to be led into your vehicle or for you to follow her somewhere. However, once you do this, her beautiful face will disappear and she will show you her true form. She will either have the head of a horse or alternatively the head of a horse's skull. It's said that those who see La Cegua's true form are driven insane. That is, if La Cegua doesn't devour them right then and there.
This is why people need to just mind their own business. If I'm being real.
True scary stories in 60 seconds or less. This story comes in from a man named Nate Daniels about his honeymoon. While this couple was out vacationing in Maui, they ended up going hiking in the bamboo forest. But when they heard running water, they thought there could be a waterfall nearby, so they ended up venturing off the trail. There was a waterfall that they found and it was beautiful, so they ended up going for a swim. Until suddenly something felt very off and his wife shrieked. Near the woods was a bearded man who sat watching them just outside of the water. The husband called out to him and the man said that he was just looking for his dog, but the couple felt uncomfortable, so they got out and went back for the trail. But they had ventured too far from that trail. They were lost, they had no cell service, and it was getting dark and they started to panic. But then suddenly heard something behind them, so the wife pulled out her flashlight and shined it in that direction. She revealed the bearded man standing there holding an axe. They darted through the woods and eventually made it out to the main road, having narrowly escaped whoever that man was.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. When Apollo 11 landed, it only had 20 seconds of remaining fuel. 4 months ago, a deceased rapper by the name Gunyu had his corpse on stage while fans were partying around his body. The average person wastes 5 months of their lives waiting for red lights to turn green. Cruise ships have morgues, just in case someone, during the trip. If you have red eyes after swimming, it's not from chlorine. It's from the chlorine mixing with other people's urine. The furthest part of the ocean from land is Point Nemo. If you get stuck there, you're not coming back. Sunburn are your cells dying to avoid being cancerous. Most laugh tracks and shows are people from the 50s, which means you're hearing the laughter of dead people. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 14.
W body for actually preventing us from getting cancer by killing the cells. Yep, I'm black, so I don't really get sunburned, although I do know black people can get sunburned, but I never got sunburned.
Okay, what's up, y'all? So I just heard some really trippy news about this whole Ukraine-Russia war. So a Russian parliamentary committee claims that Ukraine is using labs provided by the United States of America to create superhuman soldiers, like some mutants. But Russian propaganda has been pushing this story for years. According to Irina Yarovaya, performance-enhancing drugs given in order to completely neutralize the last traces of human consciousness and turn them into the most cruel and deadly monsters. The committee was formed to investigate this conspiracy. And so according to Ned Price, the Kremlin is intentionally spreading outright lies that the United States and Ukraine are conducting chemical and biological activities. The committee now has proof to back their wild claims. In the proof of blood samples taken from Ukrainian prisoners of war. Apparently these samples showed a range of disease, meaning they must be superhumans created in a government lab, obviously, right? I don't know, what do you guys think?
You know, I would not be surprised if the government were working on superhumans. We kind of see in like the Marvel movies with Captain America how he's a super soldier. I would not be surprised if that actually becomes a thing later down the road towards the future.
People who stay up late and get up late are more likely to become psychopaths. Hello, and here's some creepy facts. Most laugh tracks and shows are from people in the 50s, which means you are hearing the laughter of dead people. If you wake up between 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. for no apparent reason, there's a 90% chance something was staring at you. Lack of sleep will shrink your brain. 70% of your dreams contain hidden meanings. On average, people escape death about 6 times through their life without knowing it. You're always 6 minutes away from death, but breathing resets the clock. Your body is the weakest between 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. as this is the time most people die in their sleep. If you shiver for no reason, then it means a spirit is passing near you. Heartbreak is a real thing known as broken heart syndrome, and the symptoms are similar to a heart attack. Your phone has a very tiny camera that watches your every move. Every time you sneeze, you skip a heartbeat.
Pretty sure the phone just does more than watching us, bro. That shit hears us, knows what we're doing all the time, knows how much steps we've taken. Our phone knows us more than we probably know ourselves, if I'm being honest.
Disturbing things that you should never look up on Google. Part 2. Bianca Devins was a 17-year-old from New York known for posting e-girl content to her Instagram. In April 2019, one of her followers, 21-year-old Brandon Clark, DM'd her, sparking a romantic relationship between the two. A few months later, Bianca, Brandon, and another friend of theirs named Alex attended a concert together in the Bronx. Sometime during the concert, Brandon caught Bianca kissing Alex, which led to an argument on the car ride home. Brandon eventually began assaulting her and slicing her neck with a knife that he'd hid under his seat. He then got into Bianca's phone and posted several gruesome images of her corpse to her Instagram story and released a video of the murder as well. He then posted the following picture to her page, hinting that he was going to take his own life. However, police were notified before he could do so, and Brandon was taken into custody and sentenced to life in prison for the murder of Bianca Devins.
I say this OD, but this is why I'm telling y'all, you gotta be careful, man. Cause it's like that. I mean, I get the girl that you loved was making out with some other dude, but bro, it's tragic out here, man. I know some people whose girls they've been dating for years, months, go do some stuff with a whole nother guy. They didn't do that. They just left. This dude could've just left. Man, some of y'all men gotta get stronger, bro. It's all in here, man. Gotta get strong mentalities.
Can you do the babadook? Disclaimer, this video is for entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. The babadook is a demonic creature that first made its appearance in a movie simply called The Babadook. I remember when this movie first came out because I was in high school. Did it scare me? No, because I don't get scared. But it was very creepy nonetheless. It's rumored that if you read the pages of this book aloud, you are summoning Babadook. This book starts out seeming like any other children's pop-up book, but as you continue through the pages, it becomes more sinister. See him in your room at night and you won't sleep a wink. And then it shows an image of the Babadook terrorizing a child in bed, saying, "Let me in."
Hey,
it's said that the Babadook has the ability to shapeshift, oftentimes taking form as a demonic humanoid like this, with sunken eyes and an inhuman grin. If you want a part 2 talking about what to do if you encounter a Babadook, interact with this post. What to do if you encounter The babadook. The babadook is a demonic creature which takes on the appearance of a humanoid man with sunken eyes, an inhuman smile, and razor-sharp, knife-like claws. In my last video, I talked about how you summon him, but he is somebody that you don't want to summon. So how do you get rid of him? Like many negative entities, babadook feeds off of your fears and insecurities. And if you're scared of him, it only makes him stronger. To get rid of the babadook, you must reduce him down to almost nothing, spew insults at him, make him feel insecure, and assert your dominance. Let him know that he is trespassing in your space. At best, this will get rid of him. Worst case scenario, it will reduce him down enough so that you can lock him in your basement and feed him worms. If you want to shop my merch, it's in my bio.
Man, I'm not rocking with that babadook. Hell no.
The urban legend of
the Mothman.
The Mothman.
The Mothman is a scary, unexplained creature with large red eyes and large wings like a moth.
It was first sighted in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and was made famous by the 2002 movie The Mothman Prophecies and has appeared before major world disasters.
The creature often appears to have no head, with red eyes set into its chest. It has been photographed and been seen by eyewitnesses and has chased and harassed a number of people.
The first sighting of Mothman was in November 1966 in Point Pleasant, Virginia. Two newlywed couples were driving together on Route 62 when they saw a dark figure on a hillside up ahead.
It was almost 7 feet tall, and it had red eyes and large black wings folded behind its back.
As they watched, it spread its wings and flew into the air. They sped off, but the dark figure followed them, even though they were driving at over 100 miles per hour.
Later that night, a man was at home watching TV when the screen suddenly went dark and was filled with a weird pattern. Just then, he heard a loud, high-pitched whining noise coming from outside his house.
When he went out to see what it was, he saw two large red eyes staring at him from the darkness. His dog took off after it and never came back. That night, the man was so scared he slept with a gun next to his bed.
News of the strange sightings spread around the world, and newspapers nicknamed the creature Mothman. Between 1966 and 1967, over 100 people saw the mysterious Mothman.
On December 15, 1967, a major disaster hit the town of Point Pleasant when the Silver Bridge collapsed during rush hour traffic.
The cars plunged into the dark waters of the Ohio River and 46 people were killed in the accident. That night, eerie lights were seen in the sky all over Point Pleasant.
The Mothman was never seen again after the bridge collapsed. Many people believe that Mothman had something to do with the disaster.
Mothman has also been sighted just before other world tragedies, such as the tsunami in India, Chernobyl in Russia, the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, and September the 11th in New York.
In 2000, the story was made into a movie, The Mothman Prophecies, starring Richard Gere and Laura Linney. The paranormal reality TV show Paranormal State investigated the Mothman mystery in 2008.
That picture that they showed towards the end, that looked like a bat, like just like a random freaking bird just flying. I don't know. If you believe in the Mothman, put your story down in the comments. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you guys liked the video, please like the video. Remember to check these chains out down in the description. They got free shipping. You know, Christmas is coming up. Just get one for someone in your family. You never know. They will appreciate it. Trust me, they will. But if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Peace out.